6 News. Can we cure the ills between the U.S. and our neighbor to the south? We're talking border issues and potentially help for this energy crisis. Also, what did all those Chargers interceptions cost the city? The ticket guarantee has taxpayers laid out flat. Plus, whose responsibility is it to inform you on the safety of cell sites? And it's a multi-million-dollar industry right here in San Diego. Is our current system to save the homeless working or just enabling them? Fox 6 News starts right now.
This is Fox 6 News.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Esther Tro.
And I'm Linda Martin. For the first time as president, George W. Bush goes to a foreign country. He's in Mexico to meet with our neighbor's president. His mission, to cure the ills between the two countries. Tonight, we take a look at the hot-button issues the two leaders will take on.
Some look south and see problems. Not me. I look south and see opportunities and potential.
President Bush's first foreign trip highlights the administration's foreign policy objectives.
Is powerful evidence of the special place Mexico holds in our national priorities.
It says mostly that he cares about what's happening in Mexico and that he does care of what's going to happen in North America.
Mr. Bush's visit with Mexican President Vicente Fox is described as a chance to renew acquaintances between former governors of influential border states. One contentious issue is energy policy. Mexico is very protective of its wealth of oil and natural gas resources, and its neighbor to the north is hungry for them.
There's no other subject in Mexico that is as touchy politically as oil and electricity, so they have to tread very carefully.
Another touchy subject, the border. Fox has said he wants to open it. The U.S. wants to stop the flood of illegal drugs and immigrants.
With President Bush now in office, these two leaders can take the opportunity of the upcoming meeting to chart a course for mutual cooperation over the next several years.
Cooperation President Fox hopes will include amnesty for nearly 1 million Mexican nationals now in the U.S. illegally. Bush aides say the president's open trade policy will encourage them to return home.
The expansion of trade with Mexico has brought jobs and prosperity to both our nations, helping Mexico rebound from the peso crisis of the mid-90s.
Of the many topics the two presidents will discuss, immigration reform. And fellow Republicans say they'll be watching carefully, hoping the president's eagerness to be a good neighbor doesn't mean he'll falter on what they see as the critical issue.
Well, new financial figures show last season's dismal performance by the Chargers hurt San Diego in more ways than one. Low attendance cost the city nearly $8 million thanks to a deal struck with the team 5 years ago. The contract guarantees the team 60,000 ticket sales per game and must make up the difference when that number isn't met. City leaders don't like the deal, and neither do fans who believe the team is guilty of unnecessary roughness.
I have 2 children. So if my wife and I want to go, I mean, that's an astronomical amount of money for food and tickets and everything else to go. So you might go to one a year if you want to go, but then you're going to go watch what? Ryan Leaf? I don't think so.
The city put aside $5 million in the budget just in case ticket sales were low. However, they are still going to be short more than $2 million, and city leaders say the money could come from other stadium events or hotel taxes. It's a fight between voters and judges that's headed straight to the Supreme Court. Today, San Diego District Attorney Paul Fink said he will appeal last week's court decision that overturned a key portion of Prop 21. That is, of course, the voter-approved initiative that lets prosecutors decide whether certain cases should be filed in juvenile court or adult court. An example, the case in which 8 San Diego teens are accused of attacking 5 Mexican farm workers.
Right now, what we have is a 2-to-1 decision of an appellate court, and I'm not persuaded that this decision was the right decision. I've read the decision, I've read the law. I am confident that the Supreme Court will reverse the decision of this Court of Appeal.
The appeal means prosecution of the teens and the migrant attack could be delayed for at least a year.
Power shortages persist in California, and many states are wondering if they'll be next. But Congress wants to make sure California's problem doesn't go national. A House Energy panel heard expert testimony on the impact of deregulation. They cited 2 key mistakes California made: the failure to plan for a huge increase in electricity demand and requiring utilities to sell all their power plants.
The only answer is to have the government regulating the price and the reliability of electricity to ensure that consumers, when they put on their light switch, that the power is going to come on and that they're going to be able to afford it.
Numerous California officials have asked federal regulators to impose price controls on wholesale energy providers. The Bush administration opposes it. Search and rescue dogs sniffed through deep rubble at Black's Beach today after an overnight cliff collapse. So far, no evidence was found to suggest the towering 125-yard natural wall gave way onto anyone. The odds of anyone being hurt in the collapse were slight since it seemed to have happened overnight and because that stretch of shoreline doesn't get much public use in winter. At least one person is dead after two light planes crashed near Los Angeles this afternoon. They dropped into the water just outside the mouth of Long Beach Harbor. A search for possible survivors has been called off for the night. No word yet on how many people were on the planes. If you're tired of sitting in traffic all the time, help is on the way. The San Diego Freeway Congestion Strike Team is working to reduce your drive time by July 2004. How? By finishing State Route 56, expanding I-15 as well as the 805 and 5 merge. It's a big task, but it should help reduce your commute within the next 2 years. The strike team is made up of city, county, and state leaders.
A follow-up now to a Fox 6 News investigation. We told you in November that some experts questioned the safety of cell sites around children. Now some people are calling for change. Fox 6 News reporter Greg Phillips first broke that story. He joins us now with more on this. Greg.
Esther, after we aired our stories in November, we received well over 100 calls and emails from people all over the county concerned about cell sites going up in their neighborhood or at their child's school. People like Jamie Kessel, who want the city of San Diego to change the way wireless companies are regulated.
You can't crush me because I'm down here.
Jamie Kessel's like most mothers.
Joshua, don't get in front of him.
She keeps a close eye on the safety of her kids. So when she spotted a cell tower going up at her 5-year-old son's church preschool, she had questions. Kessel remembered a Fox 6 News investigation that revealed radiation emitted from some cell sites can be especially dangerous to children because their brain tissue is much less developed than adults.
At first I didn't want to think that that's what it was because I thought, no, the church is going to let us know, or the preschool would let us know, that this was going in.
But they didn't. Under state law, churches and other private property owners aren't required to notify Kessel or anyone else. Although the California Public Utilities Commission says one of its goals is to make sure people are given reasonable notice and have input, the commission lets local governments handle the process. A PUC spokesman says they have no plans to change the policy.
I feel that's wrong. I feel that people should have the right to know before this is going in.
Dr. Ross Adey has studied the effects of electromagnetic energy for 35 years. He says there's a potential health risk and parents should know when a cell site is being installed near their kids.
They should be provided not only with the location, but the power of the transmitter, the height of the tower.
I think these companies, these wireless companies are the tobacco companies of the new millennium. And I think we're going to find out, within years how unsafe they really are.
Now, whether a cell site is installed at schools is up to local school boards. The cell site at the church is in San Diego City Councilman Jim Medaffer's district. This afternoon, we provided Medaffer with a copy of our investigation in November. He refused to comment. Of course, we'll be following the story and keep you updated. Esther, back to you.
All right, Greg, thank you. So what do you think about this? Should wireless companies be responsible for posting signs alerting residents of proposed cell sites? Log on to our website at fox6.com to register your opinion, and we'll, of course, have the results for you later on in the newscast. Well, does our new president's economic policy make sense? Still ahead on Fox 6 News, predictions from a former president's chief advisor.
Plus, an in-depth look at the issue of homelessness in San Diego. Are those charged with caring for the needy really helping or hurting them?
Also, keeping kids healthy. We'll tell you about a new bill aimed at keeping your little angels free from disease.
And a new shining star makes a splash at SeaWorld San Diego. Stay with us.
We had lots of sunshine today. Now that allowed temperatures to warm up about 5 to 6 degrees more than yesterday. Let's go right to our official high in Lindbergh Field, warming up to 59 degrees, low of 44 degrees. And take a look out in the Pacific, that little swirling mass off the coast. Hey, that's the next one that's going to affect us. Now, will it give us rain and when and how much? Hey, I'll have all your answers coming up a little bit later on. Weather is coming up later.
You're watching Fox 6 News with Esther Troll, Linda Martin, Tom Helmer with sports, and Ernie Pacheco's weather. This is Fox 6 News at 10.
It's an extended President's Day weekend sale at all 7 countywide locations of the Bob Baker Auto Group. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Save on every new and certified pre-owned car, truck, van, and sport utility in San Diego's biggest inventory. It's Bob Baker's President's Weekend Sale in Mission Valley, Lemon Grove, Carlsbad, and El Cajon. It's the Bob Baker Auto Group.
Where it's so nice to be nice and get the lowest payment and the best price.
Millions of people already know.
There's only one sale that really matters.
Montgomery Ward's going out of business liquidation.
So I've been here about 4 times this week.
We just saved like about $500. And now prices have just been slashed again.
You'll take 20 to 50% off everything. It's a great sale. Save 40% off all apparel.
30 to 50% off all furniture.
And 60% off all ruby, emerald, sapphire, and fashion diamond jewelry.
Don't wait, just go.
To Montgomery Ward's going out of business liquidation.
Sale of the century, man.
Chrysler and Jeep vehicles continue to receive more and more and more awards. And now it's time to reward you with the Chrysler and Jeep Rewards program. Now for a limited time, get 0.9% APR financing on select Chrysler and Jeep vehicles. Reward yourself today with one of our award winners. And that's better than carrying around any trophy.
He was former President Reagan's chief economic advisor. Today, Dr. Arthur Laffer talked about and defended President Bush's economic agenda. Laffer told a group of San Diego business owners that we're in the middle of an economic slowdown that won't last very long. He says Bush's tax cut will lead to increased prosperity that will eventually help the poor and disenfranchised.
I think you almost have to be an economics professor from Harvard to truly believe that if you tax people who work and you pay people who don't work, you're going to get more people working. Hello, that's not the way it works.
Laffer says when you cut tax rates, people work harder and everybody wins.
Getting the homeless off the streets. Charities around the country and right here in San Diego are multiplying, but the number of homeless people is growing as well, leading some to ask the question, are the charities themselves to blame? Chris Salcedo takes a look at what some say could be a viable solution. Chris.
As some critics say, members of the homeless population are better traveled than the average American, staying in homeless shelters in every town they pass through and being counted over and over again by the National Coalition of the Homeless. It's just one of the problems we uncovered when we took a closer look at the homeless industry. You see them every day.
God bless you. Thank you.
And if you're feeling really generous, you'll donate $1 or $2. When you give directly to a transient, it's usually no secret how they'll spend the money.
I'd probably buy me something to eat and get me a beer.
But what happens when you go through a charitable organization? Does your money reach the people that need it most?
The fact that, we have a homeless industry is proof enough to me that it's not being run properly.
We'll get you on here real quick. And what do you want to talk to Rick about today? Okay. Rick Roberts has been studying the homeless problem for the last 8 years.
I think once you crunch the numbers, and once you distinguish between the truly homeless, once you make that distinction, I don't think this giant homeless problem is going to be nearly so big.
But it is big, at least according to the charities that help the needy. St. Vincent de Paul has an annual budget of $25 million. 25% of that comes from government donations, your tax money. The rest from private donations.
No beds, no funding. Lots of homeless people, lots of funding. That's how it works.
Roberts believes a lot of charities are sheltering people with various problems like drug addiction.
I'm not done. I said I want to hit.
Or alcoholism. Or someone that never learned personal responsibility and then lumping them together and labeling them homeless. Critics say the end result, a charitable industry enabling people, making it easy to get a free ride.
He's done a lot of great things. No one takes that away from him. He has a huge business. It runs on the back of the homeless people.
He is Father Joe Carroll, and in San Diego, his name is synonymous with the word charity.
We're not enabling him. He's already a drug addict. We're doing is keep him alive until he makes that choice to get off the street.
But some argue the needy have no incentive to make that choice, especially if charities like St. Vincent de Paul keep meeting their basic needs.
The homeless condition should be just that, a temporary condition.
Roberts believes commercials like this
Give me your car, your boat, your plane, because I'll change lives.
deceptively tug at our heartstrings, causing us to reach for our wallets.
Are you into fundraising or people raising?
Bob Cote is the director of Step 13, a homeless program based out of Denver, Colorado. He's receiving national attention for his efforts to change the charity industry.
Mr. Cote, thank you very much.
Step 13 is a transitional living shelter for street people that are into a dominant alcohol or drug addiction. You don't have to be an alcoholic or a drug addict to come there as long as you abide by the rules. Submit to urinalysis test once a week, and you have to work. Work works. Everyone there works.
He took the wrong approach. I'll give you a meal, I'll give you clothes, I'll give you a job. If I can't read, I can't do the job. We designed a program to succeed. And it takes time, it takes patience, it takes dignity.
Although not everyone agrees with Cote's style, he still believes he has one ingredient that's key to his recipe for success.
I'd like to see shelters split up like a pie.
Cote had a proposal that went through the Colorado legislature called PIES, or People in Economic Stress.
You would take the single mothers with children, put them in one shelter, say number 7, and then the alcoholics and drug addicts, put them in shelter number 4, right on down the line, instead of when you throw them all together under this one roof with all of these problems. What you have is a zoo, and children shouldn't be exposed to that type of atmosphere.
With shelters split up, Cote believes people will get help tailored to their needs.
You need to, do more than treat them like a stray pet. Give them a bowl of food and pat them on the head and say, see you tomorrow.
All I'm saying is stop using the word homeless as a broad brush to cover all these different projects, because you're not being honest with people.
Now, Father Joe says that housing people with various needs isn't a problem as long as the facility is managed properly, though the language, he admits, of the industry does need to change. And we acknowledge that Father Joe has done a lot of good here in San Diego, and as a news station, we've covered his activities extensively. However, Step 13 believes St. Vincent de Paul and charities like it could do much more. Linda?